We're getting information from the Mono County Sheriff's Office that bones were found in Mono County. Now, according to a press release on Saturday at approximately 4:20 p.m., Mono County Sheriff's Dispatch received a call from some hikers reporting that they had possibly located several bones that appeared to be human in the Casa Diablo Range area. Mono County Sheriff's deputies responded to the area to get information from the reporting party. Now, with the daylight hours slowly coming to a close, the press release states it was determined to continue the search first thing in the morning. On Sunday morning, the Mono County Sheriff's Office, with assistance from the Mono County Sheriff's Search and Rescue Team, responded to the area of Casa Diablo Range to conduct a search of the area for further bones and evidence. Bones were located, recovered, and are believed to be human. The bones have been collected for analysis and possible DNA testing to prove if they are human bones, and this case is currently under investigation by the Mono County Sheriff's Office. Well, the Owens Valley Committee is watching to ensure the goals of the Inyo-LA Water Agreement and its numerous mitigation projects are met. Owens Valley Committee members, including new board president Mary Roper, convened a study session regarding the Lower Owens River project on March 27th, and that was hosted by the Inyo County Water Department. Now, staff of the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power are also on hand to answer questions, and representatives from the Sierra Club as well as the California Department of Fish and Wildlife joined the group. These parties are signatory to the 1997 Memorandum of Understanding, and that's a companion to the water agreement which bolsters environmental protection for the Owens Valley. Now, a focus of this gathering was to better understand the Lower Owens River project pump back station. Water arriving at the facility may be pumped up to the Los Angeles Aqueduct or into pipes supplying the Owens Lake dust control areas. Now, any water in excess of the pump's capacity flows through the weirs and down to the delta, the place where river water would naturally enter the lake. Now, the maximum amount of Lower Owens River project water the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power is permitted to pump from the forebay is 50 cubic feet per second. Now, this is equivalent to 36,200 acre feet per year, or 3 times the amount of water needed to fill South Lake. Now, the group also stopped near the islands reach of the Lower Owens River project, north of Lone Pine and below the Owens River Fault. Here, for a distance of about 3 miles, there is no obvious river channel, and Lower Owens River project water spreads over the land surface, giving rise to thickets of tules, which inhibit access for people and livestock. You can see more on this story on our website, sierrawave.net. Well, Bennett Kessler filed this report in what many people called a rancorous meeting. At times, members of and observers of the Bishop Creek Water Association sat down at the Bishop Union High School library last week to hash out the low water situation this year. A retired Southern California Edison hydrographer also shed considerable light on past practices, which he said had helped the lakes and West Bishop properties during dry years. Now, the meeting started with the dire news of an officially low water year and the efforts of the Bishop Creek Water Association to spread what little there is. Now, reports said water has finally flowed into the Highland Drive area where wells had gone dry, and that it took 8 days for water to make it down the creek to Barlow Lane. Now, president of the Water Association, Fred Finkbeiner, said there would be no discussions on operations regarding individual properties. Heated exchanges followed. Some board members threatened to resign. Finally, in a calming presentation, retired Edison hydrographer Bert Allman revealed that the Bishop Creek drainage water management history, which lies at the heart of this year's problem. Now, the Chandler Decree of 1922 spells out mandated creek flows through spring and summer months to protect water for the upper lakes and for the streams and ditches in West Bishop. Allman said that in dry years, the Chandler Decree flows were not met. He said DWP allowed water to be held back in the lakes to meet water needs later in the season. DWP did not do that last year. Allman said as a result, the lakes, ditches, and some wells dried up. Allman said, as others have, that in previous drought years, DWP, aqueduct managers, and Edison came to agreement to hold water back. DWP's Bob Prendergast said that he had no knowledge of such agreements. Now, in January, DWP Aqueduct manager James Yanada had said that although the Chandler decree does not provide authority to LADWP to modify its provisions, DWP, quote, has allowed Southern California Edison to store a portion of the city of Los Angeles' water rights in the South Lake and Lake Sabrina in the past, end quote. Now, he also claimed that LA only allowed water in excess of Chandler decree rules to be held in lakes. Edison officials had earlier maintained that the Department of Water and Power allowed variations in water flow from the upper lakes down Bishop Creek to better manage water for the lakes and for properties below when needed. Now, last Tuesday night, Bert Allman confirmed those past practices by LADWP. Now, according to observers at that meeting, Fred Finkbeiner suggested that he, Inyo Water Director Bob Harrington, Bert Allman, and Dan Golden of Edison meet with DWP manager Yanada to see if they could arrive at some solution. Los Angeles bought up most of the land and water that were involved in the Chandler decree, so DWP apparently has the power to change that decree to better serve the area. For now, those involved in the issue hope for a short-term solution this season, followed by long-term changes in the decree. Now, as some have pointed out, the Bishop Creek Water Association mission should not be finger-pointing at neighbors, but dealing with how DWP and Edison handle the Chandler decree. Also, a side note, the Inyo supervisors, remember, invited the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power to come to a board meeting to talk about their solar ranch project across from Manzanar. DWP has accepted, and someone will show up at the board meeting on April 15th. You can see more on that story on our website, sierrawave.net. Well, Bennett Kessler also filed this story. The drought hurt lots of businesses this winter, but none so graphic as Mammoth Dog Teams, where owner Jim Ouimet and his sled dogs took no runs at all this year of very little snow. The New York Times took an in-depth look with an article that ran April 4th. Writer Dan Krause visited Ouimet and said the effects of the drought have, quote, left Jim Ouimet and his 35 dogs nearly out of work, end quote. In fact, the last sled dog tour for Ouimet happened in March of last year. On top of no snow, according to the Times, Ouimet's well at his kennel went dry. He has had to drive into Mammoth from his headquarters 5 miles outside of town to fill up big water containers for his dogs. Now, according to the New York Times article, Ouimet spends about $10,000 per year to feed the dogs. Loans from friends and relatives have helped. For Ouimet, the dogs are his life. As the New York Times article describes, Ouimet was born in Mammoth Lakes and came home in the 1980s after more than 4 years in the Marines. Ouimet learned the craft of mushing from Paul Marvelly of Dog Sled Adventures. Ouimet took over the business in 1999 and renamed his company Mammoth Dog Teams. Now, instead of the 5 runs a day during a busy season, this winter has meant no work at all for the dog teams and Ouimet. In fact, in the past 3 seasons, they've been rough for sled dog runs. Like so many others, Ouimet prays for the heavy snow to return. And again, you can see the NewYorkTimes.com for this story. More on that story. All right, let's talk about what is already a hot spot in Mammoth, the Rockin' Bowl. Sierra Wave Media's Rob Gill filed this report.
Hi, I'm Rob Gill with Sierra Wave Media, and I'm standing next to Dan O'Connell. Dan is the owner of the Rockin' Bowl, which just opened up here in Mammoth Lakes. So Dan, how has the opening gone so far?
The opening's gone fantastically, really. It's been busy every night. It's exceeded our expectations. You know, we've done no advertising so far. We've had 1 to 3 hour waits on the bowling pretty much every night. The golf upstairs has been busy every night. Daytimes, we have people up there. We're serving food and beverage in the golf simulators, so that's going really well as well. Bowling, I mean, everybody's ecstatic to have bowling. More and more people are discovering it during the daytime, where there's not a 2 hour wait, so our daytime business has picked up. Food and beverage has been going really well as far as I can see. You know, the food's coming out in a timely way. We haven't had any complaints. It tastes good. It looks good. Bar service has been great.
And when is your restaurant opening up?
The restaurant should be open in about 3 weeks, sometime after Easter. The idea here was really to get the downstairs food and beverage service dialed in first, with the bar menu and the more casual menu, and then upstairs in the restaurant, the finer dining entrees will be coming online, after we feel comfortable down here. So the plan is in about 3 weeks.
I understand that you guys are going to get some leagues going soon. Where can people go for more information if they want to join a bowling league?
Well, we're going to start having flyers here at the center probably sometime later this week or early next week, and we're going to organize over the next 3 weeks, so hopefully we can get leagues fired up at the beginning of May. It'll be a short league, probably 8 weeks, just to test how things are working out, test the interest, and get organized on a league basis before we do something longer, which will probably happen on the next shoulder season, next September.
And how do you think the community has responded to the bowling alley opening up?
The response has been incredible. We've had mostly local residents coming in and supporting the business and sustaining us so far. More and more resort guests are hearing about it and coming in, but the business has been mostly the residents of the community so far, which is fantastic. I mean, that's what you want. Very grateful for our residents and our local community business and all the support we've had from them.
Great. Make sure to check out the Rockin' Bowl here off Chateau Road in Mammoth Lakes. Dan, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Rob Gill, and you're watching Sierra Wave Television.
All right, thank you, Rob. The Rockin' Bowl, a great addition to the Eastern Sierra. We'll be back with more news.